大家好, I'm Martin. Welcome to Short Stories, brought to you by the National Taichung University of Science and Technology Language Center. Today's short story is called The Wife of Bath's Tale. It is one of the Canterbury Tales, which is a collection of short stories written by famous English author Geoffrey Chaucer. He wrote these stories sometime between 1387 and 1400. And the original language is Middle English, which makes it a little bit difficult for modern readers to understand. However, it is a commonly read book in high school and university literature courses. There are many people in the English-speaking world who can at least recognize Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, today's version I have rewritten for you in modern English, so it's a little bit easier for you to understand, and I have simplified the story a little bit. Before I read the story, I will read the vocabulary and vocabulary example sentences. After I finish the story, I will read 4 listening comprehension questions. Okay, let's go. Vocabulary. Execute. Execute. 6 murderers were executed. Condemned. Condemned. This condemned man is innocent. Carry out. Carry out. That soldier carried out his mission. Desire. Desire. He begged for what he desired most. Walk of life. Walk of life. This company employs people from all walks of life. Stifling. Stifling. Most students feel that the school setting is stifling. Maiden. Maiden. The prince married the beautiful maiden. Sovereignty. Sovereignty. Several countries claim sovereignty over the Diaoyu Islands. Chagrin. Chagrin. When everyone learned that he failed the test, he was chagrined. Faithful. Faithful. She married him because she knew he would be a faithful husband. Now the story. In the time of King Arthur, there was a knight who loved to spend time with the young ladies of the court. He loved it a little too much. He was arrested and put on trial for breaking the heart of the duke's daughter. King Arthur was ready to have the man executed for his crime, but his wife, Guinevere, intervened. She told the condemned knight, "I will spare your life if you can discover what it is that women most desire. Return in exactly 1 year with the answer. If you do not succeed, then the king's death sentence shall be carried out." The knight, having no other option, consented. The knight set out on his quest to discover what women really desired. Along the way, he met many women from all walks of life. He met a peasant girl working in a muddy field and asked her, "What do you desire most?" The girl put down her farming tools, wiped the sweat from her face, and said, "Riches. I'd love riches so I wouldn't have to do this dirty, sweaty job anymore." Next, the knight met a wealthy merchant's daughter in the city. He asked her the same question. She said, "The finest clothes in all the land. I'd love to dress like the fancy noble ladies of the royal court." The knight traveled some more and came upon a nobleman's mansion. They invited him to dinner, which he accepted. While at dinner, he asked the nobleman's daughter his question. She answered, "Fun! I'd love to be free of the stifling rules of the nobility and enjoy life. Being a nobleman's daughter is so boring." After the knight left the mansion, he traveled to a nearby convent. He greeted one of the nuns who was walking on the road and asked her his question. She replied, "A handsome man to keep me company. I've never had one of those." The last woman the knight met on his journey was a singer. He asked her his question, and she said, "Fame! I want to sing in front of the whole kingdom and hear their applause." Almost an entire year had passed, and the knight still did not have a definitive answer. Every woman he had asked said something different. He was very worried that he was going to be executed. On his way back to King Arthur's castle, he saw in the distance a group of 24 maidens dancing around a maypole. When he got closer, the maidens had disappeared. Only one old woman was standing in the middle of an empty field. The knight asked her his question. She said, "I will tell you the answer that you are seeking, but only if you will do me a favor later." The knight cautiously agreed. The next day was the due date for the knight's answer. He arrived at the court dressed in his finest armor, which he had polished himself. A crowd of lords and ladies had gathered to watch the proceedings. At the far end of the hall were King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, sitting on their thrones. The queen stood up and asked the knight if he had found the answer. He replied, "The thing that women desire most is sovereignty. Sovereignty over their husbands." All the ladies in the room started nodding their heads enthusiastically. "It appears that you have discovered the truth and freed yourself, Sir Knight. Congratulations," said the queen. She then asked, "How did you figure it out?" Just then, the old lady that the knight had met the day before arrived. She told the court about the deal that they had made. Then she said, "Now I will ask you for that favor you promised. I request that you marry me." The knight was chagrined. He didn't want to marry a wrinkly old lady, but he had no choice. At the wedding, the old lady tried to kiss the knight. He was reluctant. The old lady told him, "You know, I will be a very faithful wife. No other man will try to seduce me. Which would you prefer, a wife who is honest but ugly, or one who is beautiful but not faithful?" The knight paused for a moment to think. He said, "The choice is yours. I am in your power." The old lady replied, "Then I will give you faithfulness and beauty." Immediately, the old woman transformed into the most beautiful woman in the kingdom. The knight was overjoyed and relieved. They hugged and kissed each other while the wedding guests applauded the happy ending of this tale. Now for the questions. Number 1. What was the knight's quest? A. To find the Holy Grail. B. To slay the dragon. C. To rescue the princess in the tower. D. To learn what women want. The answer is D. To learn what women want. Question 2. Who did the knight meet first on his journey? A. The merchant's daughter. B. The nobleman's daughter. C. The nun. D. The peasant girl. The answer is D. The peasant girl. Question 3. How did the knight find the answer? A. The peasant girl told him. B. He read it in a fortune cookie. C. He asked the wizard Merlin. D. He made a deal with an old woman. The answer is D. He made a deal with an old woman. Question 4. What do women desire most? A. Fun. B. Money. C. Sovereignty. D. Clothes. The answer is C. Sovereignty. That concludes today's short story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you may have learned something about Western culture or maybe Western literature in the process. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.